All right, good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Great. Second day of Big Data London. My name is Effie Kilmer. I'm a Chief Data and AI Advisor at Microsoft, and I look after our customers across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And it really is such a pleasure to be here with all of you today and reconnect with so many friends that we have in the industry. But I also want to say that it's a really incredible moment for the UK market. If you saw a few weeks ago, our CEO, Satya Nadella, announced that we're making the largest financial investment in the UK market to date, with a $30 billion investment in AI infrastructure and ongoing operations. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. AI innovation is in every single executive meeting that we're in. It's the title of every single keynote, every session in a conference. But the real challenge remains is, how do you actually set up your organization to be successful with delivering AI and scaling its value? And so what I'm going to do today is actually show you the market reality of where we are today. I'm going to share some of the use cases that I've had with some of the customers and what's been successful and what hasn't. And then lastly, we're going to go through the foundation of having a modern data and AI foundation so you can scale your single success in one team with your AI investments across the enterprise. So let's go ahead and take a look at the market reality today. Now, I know all of you are reading those recent research reports published by MIT or published by Gartner, and we're really looking at, is this the hype cycle that we're in? But I have to say that the investment and the business case for AI is undeniable. On my flight over here from New York, I was reading an American banking article quoting a dear friend of mine who's the chief data officer at M&T Bank. And he was discussing his successful rollout of Copilot to 16,000 of his 22,000 employees for increased productivity gains and to help with call center support. We've also seen Barclays Bank roll out and deploying Copilot to 100,000 employees in their organization with the same productivity gains, but also embedding the tool into their everyday applications. The reason why I'm highlighting this is because it's amazing to see these highly regulated organizations invest in change and invest in the latest innovation like we haven't seen before. Now, with this great opportunity, there's a huge amount of challenge that we're seeing in the market. And I work with many leaders inside of customers that are saying, how do we make sure that we deliver ROI quickly? How do we scale safely? And really the key here is, how do you invest in your data, your operations, your platform, and most importantly, your people, so you can scale your investments? And I'll take us through how we can be successful today. There's 3 questions that come up. And these are the 3 common questions that we have when we work with any customer. First, starting with, how can we realize and measure business value with trustworthy KPIs? The second one being, how can we implement and scale given the current challenges and constraints we have in our organization? And then lastly, what should be our organizational North Star? How do we measure and realize value? Now, this is a super practical session, and I really want you to take away understanding how you can go and work on your challenges today. This is not a pie in the sky, what the world looks like in the next 5 years, what we're doing in terms of investing in quantum computing. I really want to leave you with a framework where you can be inspired by use cases that we're seeing and bringing it back to your organization. So let's start with demystifying agentic AI. Now, agentic AI, for example, is not just a simple chatbot that you're having. The way that I like to think about it is, it's actually your really amazing teammate that works alongside your teams. And what it can do is actually bubbles up the information to you so you can focus on the most important task at hand. Now let's take a look at what agents look like inside your organization. So imagine now with back office tasks being automated so that you can have your frontline workers working on insights and analyzing information that they really need to understand. You can see here we're working with a real-world example that we have with a customer in healthcare. Now, with AI adoption, you have to start with identifying your use cases and prioritizing them based off your organizational business objectives. I'm working with a current UK realtor company that's taking a look at how do we actually personalize the customer experience. So starting with the end product that we're bringing to customer, and then what we've done is we worked our way back to actually looking at the raw material that's required with the design team to produce that information. So what we're having here is we're seeing 5 different agents that are able to come together and automate pain points inside your organization so you can streamline the customer experience. Now, you probably heard from Robin before as well, and I want to just reiterate because it was a key point. Being able to bring your business and technical teams at the very start is what's going to make you successful. So having this AIV team starting at the very beginning all the way down from your simple applications to your advanced solutions is really what's going to set you up for success. Now, I want to just break down through these agents that we have here, starting with the admin tasks, so we can start getting a little bit inspired about what can happen with agents when they show up. The first one being in the admin tasks, think about how much time you dedicate looking at forms and doing repetitive tasks. This can actually automate it for you so that people in the back office can focus more time on decisions for their patients. The second one being here, the fraud, waste, and abuse agent detector. In this customer example in healthcare, what we were looking at is a key pain point of being able to see fraud in a sea of claims that you have. So being able to identify them quickly and being able to pause any payments that are fraudulent and actually pass them over to a human reviewer. Now, this is key. These agents are working alongside your teams to help you be more productive and be more efficient in your job. The third one being the prior authorization agent. This one was a key bottleneck that we saw with the customer. Being able to authorize your patients took a huge amount of time, took a huge amount of data to pull together, and this way customers were actually more satisfied by the quick speed of authorization and being able to process actually the membership. Going into member services. This agent's my personal favorite, and I think it's relatable to everyone here in the room, because how often are we calling our healthcare provider, or even we can take another industry, our cell phone provider, to be able to ask questions and get constantly inundated by asking, can I speak to an agent? Can I speak to an agent? Dial 0, dial 0. What this member service agent does is actually it can automate and look at how do we share the benefits back to the patient. So common questions that are applied being like, is this provider a network? Or why has my claim been denied? So you can actually get responses by this agent. And when required, the agent can then pass you over to the human. And then lastly, the analyzer agent, which in this case was be able to make sure that the drug efficacy and the costs were satisfaction for clients. Now, I've just explained to you how agents show up. The key here that we're talking about is how do we measure value? And when we look here, and we want to take a look at the KPIs for each one of these agents. Now, I'm not going to go and drain every single agent that we have here with KPIs, but feel free to go ahead and take a photo here. But our scorecard is really simple. It's really about KPIs to be able to reduce rework, to be able to help and support customer experience, and be able to reduce risk. Now, what I'd like to do next is actually show you how do you actually scale a specific use case that you have with data agents and create it into a repeatable framework. And so what we've done here is actually breaking it down into 4 business groups. So you can see here underneath we have the claim processing, the utilization management and a prior authorization business unit, the benefit design, the supply chain logistics. Think of these, if you want to think in your own organization in more simple terms, like HR, marketing, customer service, those types of functions. Now, from here in this repeatable framework, you're able to use a common foundation of data. You're able to apply policies so everyone is working with a common unified platform. Now, I want to show this in real life. So I want to take a look at the latest release of data agents that we have here in this demo, so you can take a look at what it would look like for you. Now, in this previous example, I showed you healthcare. I want to switch gears and show you a little bit more in sales so you can take a look at really how a sales team can see who are the most loyal customers that they have. How do you track down any packages that are delayed so you can get better insights of your data?
In this demo, we are going to create an AI data agent in Microsoft Fabric. This is the item formerly known as AI Skill, and we are very excited to announce that we are renaming Fabric AI Skills to Fabric Data Agents. Data Agent is an item you can create to enable chat with your data. All I need to do is give it a name, and I am immediately navigated to my creator experience. I can now configure and test this data agent, and it will be an expert on top of my data in Fabric. The first step is choosing the data that my data agent is going to know about. I can select and mix and match from a whole variety of sources, including lakehouses, semantic models, and KQL databases. The goal is to create an agent that is going to know about customer sales, customer loyalty, and package deliveries. I'll start by adding a semantic model containing customer loyalty data. I can select the tables I want my agent to know about, and then immediately start testing it. I'll start by asking, who are the top 5 loyalty customers? Here, we can see that the agent outlines the steps it took to get the answer, including the query it used, in this case, a DAX query. This provides transparency and helps the creator to verify whether the answer is correct or not. And this answer looks correct. Next, I am going to add another data source, this time a lakehouse containing customer details and sales data. Since I want my agent to be aware of customer and sales data, I'm going to select the customer table, product table, and internet sales. Now, as we add more data sources, we may need to guide our agent by giving it a hint about when to use which data source. For this, I'm going to leverage the AI instructions to give it some guidance. This is similar to training a new junior data engineer or analyst on where to find answers to various types of data questions. Now, let's ask another question to test if the agent can provide additional customer details. What else can you share about these customers? Here, we can indeed see that the agent returned customer details, but we also see that the agent used data from the semantic model to answer this question. However, we wanted to query the lakehouse, since that source contains most up-to-date customer information. In order to guide the agent on how to answer this question, we can add an example query. This will guide our agent on how to retrieve the additional customer information, such as columns to return, when asked to share customer details. Let's open the example queries for the lakehouse and add a question. And then we can simply add the correct query. And if we ask the question again, we can see that the data agent is now considering the example query and retrieving the specified information from the lakehouse. We can also see the SQL query it ran to get the answer. As our agent is operating on enterprise data, security rules like RLS and CLS are always respected. The data agent works seamlessly on top of Fabric's big data engines, meaning that it can operate on top of very large data sets. Now you've seen how creators can iterate, refine, and improve their data agents. After some time configuring this data agent, we'll have an agent that can answer a large variety of questions. Here, you can see that we've evolved our data agent by adding more data sources, like an event house KQL database, containing package delivery data. This agent also has a much larger set of instructions to help refine its answers. And we've added more example queries, also for the event house database. Next, let's ask this agent some questions about late deliveries. We want to find out if any of our top loyalty customers, also known as diamond status customers, have experienced delayed deliveries. These customers are prioritized, and we want to ensure they have a great end-to-end experience. Let's ask, for diamond status loyalty customers, show me the number of late deliveries. Break it down per customer name. The agent provides an answer that looks correct. In fact, it managed to retrieve these answers by performing multiple steps. and querying across multiple data sources. First, it had to get the diamond status customers from the semantic model. Use their names to query the lakehouse to find the correct customer keys. And finally, use those customer keys to query the deliveries from the event house database. This would have taken me so much longer to do manually. We can now test our agent to see if it can help with analysis about the reasons of these delayed deliveries. Lastly, let's ask, what are the reasons for these late deliveries? Categorize the reasons and highlight the delivery couriers that frequently have had delayed deliveries. We'll give it some time to retrieve the answer. Here in the results the agent returned, we can see a breakdown of different categories of delays, such as unavailable customers, damaged packages, and delivery truck breakdown. We can even see which couriers were experiencing these. Our data agent is now tested and ready to be consumed. To enable this, we first have to publish our agent and give it a description that describes what it knows. This will make our data agent available for consumption inside Fabric, and now also from Azure AI Foundry. We are very excited to announce the public preview of Fabric data agents integrated in AI Foundry Agent Service. This means that you can now build data agents in Microsoft Fabric and use these agents as tools or knowledge for agents in AI Foundry. In this way, you can build multi-agent systems with expertise about your enterprise data. In this demo, we are going to
So I hope that demo was able to show you really a use case and real-life example of how you can actually analyze your customers and sales information so you can get down to the real pain point. But I want to go into our next and our second question that we have here is how do we implement and scale given the current challenges? And the current challenges we're seeing is that our data sources were not built to connect with each other. And so what we're seeing actually is large amounts of copies of information that are being created. We have data spread out everywhere. We have the pharmacy and claims data. We have patient-specific data. We have outcome data. And it's really about how do we actually connect the data together to be able to have the context so those agents can work seamlessly. Now, the second challenge that we have here is not just about fixing the data sprawl to then pour more data into platforms. It's about being able to keep the data where it is so it's authoritative, so you can trust it, instead of having to increase risk by having the copies of information, and being able to show the lineage and be able to connect with policies. Now, given these two current challenges, I want to introduce us to the modern Microsoft Data Foundation. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look here on the right-hand side, starting bottoms up and looking at your unified data. Now, this is where you can bring all your information together in one location, no matter what user is. So if we're looking at a Power BI user or a BI analyst, or if we're looking at a data engineer or a data scientist, they can all have this unified data platform that's able to plug and play with their AI tools. The second, and if there's one thing that you take away from this entire talk, I could spend a whole couple of hours talking about data management. But what's key here is what I'm seeing is organizations who underestimate the investment in data management and data governance are the ones who get the most frustrated with their AI investments in value. And I'll tell you why. Data management is really your holy grail of being able to make sure that your data is trustworthy. So you can apply data quality policies and rules onto your data, be able to showcase lineage so you can see where your data is being passed through, but really being able to have the full governance and control. This is not a no function. This is a function that actually builds enablement inside your organization. And then the third piece I want to highlight is the data domains. Now, the data domains are super cool because they're the logical groupings that creates your organizational blueprint. So what you saw in those previous slides, if you remember seeing the supply chain business unit, these are your domains that can sit on top of your data. So it's a logical view to be able to apply policies at the top, and then they get trickled down to your raw data estate. And that's where agents will then sit on top of. Now that you have your data foundation in place, I'm going to say that you're able to now apply your AI technology. So you're able to have pre-built capabilities, your AI orchestration, and any model customization that you want to make, and then applying your responsible AI framework. Now, Microsoft has our own responsible framework that has the principles of being able to ensure that there's no bias and that there's fairness in the data, or making sure that you have the principles of making your data explainable. There are many amazing frameworks out there. But then from there, with the responsible AI, you can operationalize it and then govern all of your agents and evaluation. Now, I know I just shared a lot of information of how you can really extract value from your AI investments. And the last thing that I really want to leave you here with is being able to understand how you can make it real with your technology today. Now, I really encourage you to look at all the technology that's out there in the market, not specifically just Microsoft technology, because it helps you actually envision what the future can look like and really inspire you on new use cases. But I just want to see how many people were with us in Vienna last week for the Fabric conference. Okay, I highly recommend you go ahead and check out the announcements that came out of Fabric conference, because we announced amazing investments that we've made across our product groups. The first one being in OneLake, where you can unify your data estate. Think about how you can actually now mirror Oracle databases. You can take a look at mirroring Google databases with zero ETL. The second one, we have a great collaboration with the Databricks team with Azure Databricks, and we're going to continue to see further collaboration. Now, I'm not going to drain both the Fabric and the AI Foundry and Purview bits, but I do want to say one of the coolest things that I saw coming out of the Fabric conference last week was being able to chat with your data. And so when you think about it, if you work in Fabric or if you work with BI tools, you actually don't have to find the specific dashboard you need anymore. What you can do is you can use natural language to be able to search for insights, and it'll populate slices and dices of different dashboards across your organization, so you can really become more data-driven. So just to wrap up here, I want to say, if we look at the value for AI today, I really encourage you to look at how you're valuing your data and your people today, how you're investing in making sure that you have that unified view of your data, how you're empowering your people to have the skills so that they can be successful. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here. And if you're attending the VIP theater, please come with any questions you have, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much.